Hey guys, how's it going? Coach Tyson from Ox Strength. Today we're going to be talking about grip strength in powerlifting or grip strength in deadlift. So deadlift gardakeri, obviously grip strength is a major issue, but actually before going into just having weaker grip, I think the bigger problem lies in proper positioning and not understanding how the grip works, like who grip le कसरी help गरिरहेछ, मिक्स ग्रिपले कसरी हेल्प गरिरहेछ अनि मिक्स ग्रिप गर्नेहरूले चाहिँ हु ग्रिप इज द सल्युसन अनि हु ग्रिप गर्नेहरूले चाहिँ मिक्स ग्रिप इज द सल्युसन सोचिरहेछ बट वेयर एज इट माइट नट नेसेसरली बी ट्रु सो खासमा के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ बारबेल स्पिनी हुन्छ नि त होइन सो वेन वर लिफ्टिङ द बारबेल इट स्पिन्स अवे फ्रम आवर ह्यान्ड्स होइन सो इट्स अलवेज स्पिनिङ अवे फ्रम आवर ह्यान्ड्स सो हामीले डबल ओभर ह्यान्ड गर्दाखेरि देयर इज ओन्ली सो मच आवर फोर आर्म फ्लेक्सर्स क्यान होल्ड मेबी फर मी लेट्स से इफ माई म्याक्स इज 250 whatever I'd probably be able to hold around 180 170 but then the grip strength to mero khasma 170 180 ko matre cha ni ta but at the end of the day to be able to lift 250 kgs I need the bar to have some friction so that it stops itself before it rolls away from my hand so duita hat mix grip garda kheri chai once the bar starts rolling it cannot catch any friction and then it is slipping away from the hands but then whereas when we're going to the mixed grip so एउटा हातमा रोल हुँदाखेरि अर्को हातमा त इज स्टार्ट्स टु गेट स्ट्र्याप्ड नि त सो वन्स इट गेट्स स्ट्र्याप्ड देन द बार डजन्ट मुभ देन द बार डजन्ट स्पिन एन्ड देन इट डजन्ट स्लिप अवे फ्रम आवर ह्यान्ड सो द्याट्स द बेसिक मेकानिजम अफ हाउ ग्रिप वर्क्स इन पावर लिफ्टिङ एन्ड हाउ मिक्स ग्रिप एन्ड इभन फर द हो ग्रिप सो हामीले डबल ओभर ह्यान्डै गऱ्यो भने पनि वेआर युजिङ आवर थम्स टु ट्र्याप द बारबेल सो बार घुम्छ बट देन सिन्स द थम्ब प्रोभाइड्स एन अपोजिट फोर्स इट स्टप्स एन्ड त्यो नघुमेपछि चाहिँ ग्रिप स्ट्रङ्गर हुने हो एन्ड देन यो हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ सो यसरी चाहिँ नर्मली ग्रिप काम गरेर आउँछ बट वाट आई हियर अफ्टन टाइम्स इज द्याट पिपल आर कम्प्लेनिङ लाइक माई ह्यान्ड्स आर सो स्मल आई क्यानट ग्रिप अन टु द बारबेल the bar is too slippery then I cannot grip onto the barbell whereas the problem it may be true like because for me I always believe like mera haat like I have gigantic hands right so maile sochte like mero grip is strong because my hands are big but that's not really the case because you've seen me fail a deadlift because of grip as well that's because the bar once the bar starts spinning I don't care how big your hands are or maybe how strong your grip is it's most likely gonna go out especially with a max attempt deadlift the only thing with the bigger hand is that if you grip yourself really high up the spin hunda like maybe somewhere down the chain you catch friction in the barbell and then you can hold on to it but then let's say whereas in a smaller hand you have to get the position right in the first place and then if you look at strong deadlifters I mean like really strong even you can look at it in Nepal or even abroad when you look at strong deadlifters they're not using their big hands to grip the barbell because the barbell is almost at a lower point in their hand and then the lower point in their hand it's pretty much like a smaller person's hand जस्तै हुन्छ because it's so low in the hand त्यहाँबाट नघुमेको भएर चाहिँ त्यो अड्किरा हो if it starts spinning regardless of how big your hands are it's gonna fall away from your hands so I think that's the biggest thing that we have to take away when it comes to the deadlift it's mostly about not being able to trap the bar properly in your hands so अर्को चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि Ojas was just saying from behind the camera like बारबेलहरू चाहिँ लाइक स्ट्यान्डर्ड बारबेल हुँदैन नर्लिङहरू हुँदैन सम बार डोन्ट स्पिन सम बार स्पिन टु मच यस्तो हुँदाखेरि अफकोर्स इट इज अ बिग प्रब्लम एन्ड इट्स अ बिगर भेरिएबल द्याट द बार विल स्टार्ट स्पिनिङ अर्लियर इन यर ह्यान्ड्स एन्ड देन इट्स गन गो आउट बट देन रिगार्डलेस अफ हाउ स्पिनी द बारबेल इज दुइटै साइडबाट प्रेसर लगाउँछ नि त यो साइडबाट पनि यता घुमिरहन्छ यो साइडबाट पनि अन्डर ह्यान्ड घुम्दा सो दुइटै ह्यान्डको राइट अमाउन्ट अफ प्रेसर हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ द बार विल हेभ अ सेन्टर पोइन्ट सो even if you try to balance a coin it's very difficult to balance a coin either but if there is gravity on this side and this side take a balance when even a coin can stand it's just a matter of if the coin is thicker it's going to be easier to balance it's a very similar concept when it comes to spinning the barbell if the bar spins a lot it's going to be hard to find the balance from where it doesn't spin away from your hands but then if you can like try to pull the slack efficiently and then lock the bar so that it doesn't spin then it doesn't become much of a problem and it's the same thing for slippery bars as well so for your bar to be able to catch friction in your hands it needs some friction obviously and friction create garne knurling huncha we use chalk all of these things are tools that we can use to stop the bar from rolling again So main concept right there. So if the bar is really, really slippery, it's gonna be a problem for sure. But then it's not as big of a problem as you may think it is, because we can still clean up the barbell and then use sufficient chalk that it allows us to grip to the barbell. And then sometimes liquid chalk is better when it comes to slippery barbell without any knurling, because we've seen time and again good lifters hook gripping onto the smooth part of the barbell where the knurling is non-existent. Then it would keep you at a really, really big disadvantage, right? So the main goal is to be able to stop the friction of the barbell. So how do we do that? I'll just explain it a little bit. So normally, like I said, when you have bigger hands, it has more probability for you to be able to, the bar will spin, and then it'll find a proper spot. But the main thing is when you're trying to pull slack, there's also a small bit of slack in your hands that you have to remove. So when you pull the slack, you let the bar pull down against your body, so it's like you're stretching away from the barbell, and then एउटा point मा हुँदाखेरि the bar will spin, and then it will stop, and then you have to calibrate it with the other hand as well. So as you pull both of the barbell, there will be a point where it starts to move. So let's say you really get a really big deep grip inside your barbell. Even if you pull like this, the bar will start spinning down, and then it'll come to a point where it stops moving. So basically that's the point that you have to create. And then we've talked about this in another one of our video. We can link it in the description as well. Like कसरी चाहिँ grip setup गर्ने. So त्यो भन्नुको मतलब नै, like you want to hold the bar as low in your hands as possible, and it's the exact same thing for the hook grip as well. Because like I said, you won't be able to muscle yourself to really big weights. And then we've seen time and time again guys who have grip issues just suddenly end up holding a lot more weight. That's because of proper positioning as well. Same thing with hook grip as well. Once you jam your thumbs inside the barbell, the main thing is that you have to, when you pull the slack, you have to let the bar spin a bit, and then once it catches the friction, then it's not gonna slip out of your hands. And that's how grip basically works. I hope that sort of makes sense. But then you can do some things to really make your grip stronger, so that you can have more endurance in your arms, you can have more crushing power, you can have more holding power, isometric strength build गर्नलाई चाहिँ there are some exercises. But before we go into the exercise, I really always want to focus on these aspects, that your bar is not spinning. Because like I said, even if you're really strong, like I've never had grip issues, but then I've had days where the bar slipped out of my hands because my positioning was not proper. And then hook grip is not the solution, and then mixed grip isn't the solution either. Both of them are really good, equally good tools that you can use, and then you can hold on to how much ever weight that you want to be able to deadlift. Okay, before we move on to the exercises, right? So the first thing what I would say is always hold your top sets. So top single huncha, top triple huncha. You don't want to rely on straps, because that creates a different kind of a mechanism for your body to understand. So हामीले grip set गर्दाखेरि we have to be able to use our hands in order to stop the bar, because strap ले पनि त्यही काम गरेर हो. It's simply just stopping the friction, because it gives your hands extra length, right? So एकदम extra length wrap भएपछि at some point it will roll, because like strap लगाउँछ चाहिँ झ्याप्पै त त्यहाँ अड्किँदैन नि, it will start to roll away. But then at some point, like everything को slack pull out भएपछि, then there is sort of like it catches the friction, and then from there it doesn't move no matter what you do. So hatha pani is the same exact thing. So don't use strap for your top sets. If you're more in the beginner to intermediate stage, let's say 400 dots, 400 wilks, around that range. If you're below that, don't use straps ever. Like, because it will grow your forearm flexors, it will grow your strength, it will grow your crushing strength. So don't use straps when you are more of a beginner to an intermediate lifter, or if you've just been lifting for 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years even, I would say. Only start using straps when you feel like your training volume is going to get affected by not using strap, because there's only so much our hands can do, right? So don't use straps as much as possible. Delay it for as long as you can. So that will really improve your grip and your ability to hold on to the barbell. But even if you're more advanced, never use strap for your top sets. Top single especially, and if you don't have singles, whatever the top set for the day is, a double, triple, whatever, don't use straps. because it creates a different sort of a feedback. It's the same camo, but you need to learn to do it with your hands. That's number one. Second, I think most of you are doing pull-ups in your training. Don't use straps for your pull-ups. I think pull-ups is an exercise which doesn't really get affected doing it without straps. Let's say if you're doing heavy barbell rows or dumbbell rows, your back training may get affected if you don't use straps, because there's only so much weight that you can hold on. But then for your pull-ups, don't use any straps to do your pull-ups. Other than that, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of doing lots of grip exercises, but one thing I would do is some exercises purposefully I will force my athletes to do it with a mixed grip or double overhand grip. Exercises such as RDLs, exercises such as barbell shrugs, some of these exercises, maybe even if the weight is low, we can focus on the grip and then the weak point that we're targeting. And then finally, after this I would directly do double overhand holds on the power rack or something around those lines. And then if you have issues with endurance of your grip, that it gets really tired, then maybe dumbbell farmer walks in the end of the workout. And then I wouldn't do so many sets because it's negatively going to affect our grip in the deadlift, but maybe 3 to 4 sets of 30 seconds sort of effort at the end of the workout. And then maybe if you have to use straps, then maybe I would choose an exercise such as a really heavy block pull from 1 or 2 inches, and then you are able to hold your grip for 10 or 12 seconds at least. But it should be the weight that you are gonna attempt in your heavy deadlift. But then the best practice is to get your technique proper, understand that the main intention is that the grip doesn't slip. You can use tools such as chalk, better barbell, bar that doesn't spin so much, and then just finding the proper groove, and slack pull is really important. So once you have these things figured out, I think grip strength is not going to be much of an issue. And then if it is an issue, you can switch between hook grip and then mixed grip. But then again, this requires a lot of getting used to and then relearning the process. But it's not magic. Like, hook grip is not magically better than the mixed grip. And then some people say the opposite is true as well. Like, mixed grip, whereas my deadlift exploded. But at the end of the day, it's your positioning and then how you are able to progress. And then you didn't make up silly mistakes when you are a beginner. You are getting strong super duper fast, but then grip match you neglected because you were using straps. So when you're a beginner, don't use straps, and I think you should be good to go. But if you have any more questions, maybe you need more one-on-one coaching with us, not just us, anyone who understands how these things work, because everyone has a different cue as to how do they stop the barbell from rolling, right? It's not about the hands. So you can reach out to us for coaching, and then maybe we could help you fix your grip issue. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope it helps. Until next time, be strong.